Okay guys, this is probably the last keyboard I'm going to review. We've looked at the Logitech K830, reputedly the best keyboard in the world for home theatre. I've had this one repaired plus another one, and I had to fix it internally myself, but now the O and maybe a couple other buttons have stopped working. It's all about what's happening under here, this circuit board and the way it's plugged into these plastic mats with circuits drawn all through it. So just go back and watch that video and you'll get clues as to how I fixed it. The other one seems more permanently fixed. In terms of soldering back that little connection, the power socket, this has got a magnetic connector on it now, so I can't ever put tension and joggle it. So it's safe now. But I didn't fix that. I paid somebody to fix that. So he soldered that on. He made it so it's soldered across, so I could never do any maintenance internally anymore. So he fucked it. And then all the keys broke. And I had to try to fix it myself. This is the Artec HB 305-4B. This is the second best keyboard. It's the only keyboard on the market that I've half liked. The scrolling is terrible. It's Bluetooth, so it's got lag with the scrolling. And it's awkward to put your thumb here. You can see the positioning there. It's sort of in relation to the keys. These buttons, the left and right mouse button, work fairly well for click and drag when you're highlighting stuff. But the Artec is just really awkward. You're using the keyboard up here, and then your thumb has to drop all the way back down here, which is all very awkward. And it's a very unresponsive trackpad. The keyboard's fine. They've both got backlight. Okay. So they're the top two. I've found that even with this beautiful keyboard, it's not beautiful. It's nowhere near as good as a Magic touchpad or trackpad from Apple. Okay, you cannot compete with Apple with anything. In fact, I took the Apple Magic trackpad once and I used it for my PC, and the PC just couldn't handle it. It just can't do the nice pinch to zoom stuff. This one, the Re X8, was my favorite of the mini keyboards. So I was going to send it back for a refund, but realized when I'm lying in bed, I don't want this thing sliding all over me. This is much more portable and nice. Even though I do a lot of typing in bed, if I really need to type something massive, I can go and get this one. And I hold that with the webs of my hand and just do it like that while I'm lying down, with this leaning down over the top of me while I'm lying in bed. On the couch, this doesn't sit in my lap super nicely, but neither does anything else, and this is the best of the bunch. In terms of sharing the keyboard and mouse for people to use your home theater computer, this kind of thing, which has a backlight, you must have a backlight. All three of these have a backlight. Anything that hasn't got a backlight, I've sent back. But you also need a nice touchpad. Okay, this one has a good range. It's good distance. That's the best of the three by far. This is the best out of any other touchpad I've had for a PC. This also got a scroll wheel, so it makes it a lot easier to get a little bit of accuracy when you're moving, rather than having to put two fingers up here awkwardly while you're just trying to relax, you know. Unfortunately, this OK button is not the left mouse click, which is maybe the replacement for the Enter key in the last 20 years. The Enter key is now simply used when typing documents these days, and the left mouse click is the thumbs up, get it done button. Go, 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 do it, do it, do it. Click, 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 right? It's the left mouse button. It's the main button on a computer now. Enter used to be the main one back in the days of typewriters and early computers, and now the left mouse click. So let's have a look at this keyboard I just got from Alibaba. I went on there and asked for a sample, saying I want to sell 100 of them or something, and they sent me this. I've seen them for sale on Amazon occasionally, so this did not arrive delivered to my door. It took a while to arrive, and I just had to go on a 1 hour drive to go fetch it, because that's how good the courier company was from this company in China. So I'd rather spend $10 and not have to deal with all that shit if I had to pay extra $10 on Amazon. Let them mark it up. They're doing all the work and getting all the shit and taking all the risk on Amazon, paying to push themselves at the top. This one's apparently space grey. It's got the check mark there. Let's see if it is. They didn't give me some orange monstrosity. By the way, this company does not have a brand name. It's an OEM product. Original something manufacturer. And it's basically what they say when you can buy these keyboards by the 1,000 and put your own logo all over it. Or you can just sell them unmarked with no logo. Just resell it. They're basically designed for resellers. China has a bunch of products like that. Does it look brand new, or does it look like it's just been chucked back in the box after somebody else didn't like it? Dual mode wireless keyboard for iOS, Android, Windows, user manual. This is called the BK9801TB from the manufacturer until somebody rebrands it with their own name. This is from Alibaba, so I don't doubt that these are the people who actually make them, or at least warehouse them. Okay, so I'll show you close up the specs here. Zoom and pause if you need to read anything. I'm doing all this in HD. You should be able to see everything pretty clearly if you zoom in on the screen or whatever. If you don't know how to zoom in any program on Windows, the shortcut is hold down the Windows button, or the Windows button, right? Hold that down and press plus, and just hold it and keep pressing plus, right? Plus and minus, that'll make it, that's the built-in Windows magnifier. It'll zoom in the entire Windows screen. Everybody gets so excited when they find that exists. It's basically the Windows equivalent of pinching and zooming, but it's the entire operating system will zoom in and out. So it does have a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, which is good. It's very good because this one has latency, and I think it's because of the Bluetooth. So you don't want Bluetooth, you want the dongle. Let's hope they remember to put it in the box with this thing. Okay, this is the keyboard, and the dongle is wisely got its own little holder there where it's sitting now. And I assume this thing over here is a USB-C. It's not too old to not be C. It is USB-A to USB-C right there. That's good. Okay. Let's say 30 centimeters to probably not a meter, but I've got a bunch of them now. Okay, I'm just going to take the plastic off and put it away in this box, getting ready to send it back for a refund if I hate it, but that won't be easy through Alibaba. How much did I spend on this thing? About $17? I don't know. This one cost me $85 from Amazon. So when I talk about $10 more, I don't know what they would charge on Australian Amazon for this keyboard. Just looking at it, feeling the weight of it, it looks really futuristic and awesome. I like the look of it better than any of these other 3 keyboards here. Let me just get this let me get your screen cleaned up a bit so you can have a better look. I've only got that Word document thing up there so that you can see the responsiveness of typing, but I'm not sure if that will be necessary in these tests. Okay, there you go. There's a bit of you. And there's my coffee. Thanks for finding it. All right. Now, I've got some USB sockets right here under this desk, which is where I'm probably going to stick this thing when I decide to fire this up. As you can see on the back, it's the BK9801TB dual mode wireless keyboard. These are rubber feet. These are angulars. It's even better like that on a desk. But as you know, this is designed for HTPC use. The edges are sharp, but a lot more expensive in weight and feel than the bastard child of the Logitech K30, the K400 from Logitech, which is a piece of shit, by the way. Don't ever get that. This one is apparently backlit. I don't think these are volume controls, even though it seems like that should be mute, volume up, volume down and volume up. I need more light on this. Okay, so I'm going to adjust the lighting here. Is that good? Once we get to backlighting, it'll be better, okay? You're not seeing the true color. If I keep it yellow like that, I'll make the color absolutely white. Clearly, I think of the best three. You don't get a choice to think about this. This is the best looking one. This one's lost its rubber stopper feet. And listen, this is the K830 that everybody loves. It's quite rattly. It's got a higher pitch rattle. That's got a bit of rattle too. They've all got a bit of a rattle, but there are moving parts all through it, so it's to be expected, I guess. So, what are these three buttons here? Home, back, and 3-line menu. Useless. But I do think the ones underneath them up, say plus and minus. So at least the volume control is something you can feel straight away. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about the trackpad being down so low while I'm lying in bed trying to face up. That could be very awkward, having it down low like that. I guess those buttons are fairly skinny too. The whole thing is when you're lying in bed and you're looking up at the projector on the ceiling, your fingers are all up here. This whole thing holds up, right? Typing could be okay, but that's going to sort of probably cut into the webbing on my hands. Look at the width of that one compared to that one. That's quite thin as well. And the K830 is like that. So the K830 is most palm web friendly, I guess. So I'm pressing buttons all over the place. I'm going to take this dongle out and I'll put the display capture back on the screen just in case anything pops up over the screen the moment I plug that in. But before I do, by the way, the dongle is unmarked in any way. There's no paint, there's no war paint, and there's no engraving except straight lines. So it's hard to differentiate between this one and any other one. You have to label it yourself if you've got 1,000 of these things lying around. Okay, the on button. Right, the on button is located at the top next to a wisely positioned USB-C power socket. What are the buttons we got? Is anything missing? Are the Windows and Alt keys in the right spots? Okay, so the RTEC has a weird positioning of Alt and Windows being back. No, it doesn't. It's normal. This is normal. I don't know which keyboard it was. There was one of the other keyboards. It was not one of this. Not this one. Okay. This one has got Alt and Windows backwards. This one does. These two are the same. Alt, Windows. Go spacebar, Alt, Windows. Spacebar, Alt, Control. Spacebar, and then this one does weird lighting tricks. Looking at the little arrow keys and so on, just figuring out which buttons I got. I don't know what this does if that's volume up and down there. And it doesn't appear to have a mute. That could be a problem. I use mute all the time. But then again, I often pause things as well. But there are often 20 windows open, and I don't want to have to navigate to find out where the sound's coming from to pause the thing. So I just want to mute it instantly to take a phone call or whatever. So it's a bothersome thing that is not there. If you look at this tiny minuscule printing on these two diagonal looking buttons, you can see there's a plus and a minus if you look really carefully. So what else could that be apart from just that and that repeated? If the volumes are there and there, I'm very happy because that's a great spot for the volume controls to be. That's where they are here as well. On this one, you've got to use 2 hands to change the volume. It's ridiculous. But at least it has mute. But I would definitely choose physical buttons that are dedicated to volume over having to use 2 parts of my hand every single time and have to look at the keyboard instead of just feeling for it. That's just super easy. Okay, let's plug this in to a, I don't know, it could be a USB 1 port on the front of my PC, and it might not be powerful enough to get a good transmission, but I don't think it's a problem. It's probably USB 2. Okay, I just plugged in. I heard a sound, did you? Is there going to be a pop-up? Okay, no pop-up. I'm going to switch the power button on, but I'll only do that after I've zoomed all the way down here for you. Come down here. Okay, power. Turn the lights off. I just turn the power on. I think there's no light. There's the internal battery stuffed. Was I supposed to charge it? Okay, there's a little blue light now. Oh, it just comes on for 1 second and then turns off. I didn't notice that the first time. Now I'm going to see if I just press the function key on the left here, if it lights up. Nope. I'm going to try the button that looks like a light bulb. Does that look better lit to you? This Word document is completely white. It's illuminating it too much. All right, I'm seeing some very hard to see glow. I'm going to press it a second time, third time. 1, 2, 3. From the angle I'm looking at, it hardly looks like it's lit up at all. I think it would help to be dead on. Still a very good looking keyboard. Not as bad as the Re in terms of looking down sideways through the buttons. On the Artec, that doesn't happen. You can't. There's not some ugly exposed light coming from underneath the buttons. And with the why is that not lighting? I turned it off. Okay, so you can see the beautiful gentle glow, and it just gently glows up and then gently glows down when it wants to stop glowing. Like that. I'll turn it off again, so I'm not accidentally button mashing as I chuck these things around. So there's a definite brightness difference between the I don't even know the name of it. The BK9801TB. I'm going to call it the BK. The BK9. It's not going to be easy to remember that. I'll zoom out a bit. Okay. So function key, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. This stays on for a long time. We'll just have to have a coffee while we wait. I was expecting to count up to maybe 10. Try this one in the meantime, see how long that one lasts for. And the Logitech at the same time. Yeah, snapped off after what I think might have been 60 seconds. Way longer than the Logitech. The Artec, which I'm sure you're considering, it is the best looking when it glows and everything, but until you see this. Now, if this is great, you know it's 2.4 gigahertz, you know that's only Bluetooth, so given that the Logitech is out of the race because it's not available anywhere in the world, unless you win some kind of magic underwater lottery with the elf cherub seals who were born of a mermaid virgin, then you're not going to get one. You're going to be stuck with choosing between these two pretty much, or a mini keyboard if that's all you need, which you should have if you're just chucking around with your remote controls for your television set. But if you need to type and work on the couch, and I do video editing from my couch, I've learned that having a mouse really helps, and a scroll wheel really helps. but it's not portable for just handing around to people. Now, picking this up off a flat surface that doesn't have cushions underneath it or whatever is a bit sharp and difficult. This one's got a bit of a nicer rounded edge underneath, and this one has the most rounded edge of all. So it's nicest in your hands, nicest on your palms of your hands and everywhere else. And when you're typing like that, these buttons and everything are in a good spot. This one's not going to be in a good spot for the trackpad, but we'll see if the trackpad's good to use. Okay, so I'm just going to wake it up. Now, I've pressed that light button. We can see that 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm sure no matter what light setting it is, they'll go for 60 seconds each. There's a button beside that which says RGB, I think, if I looked up close enough. It probably says RGB. Still can't see it from where I'm sitting. I'm going to click it. Purple, white, green, blue, aqua, red, and back to green. Purple, white, green, blue. 3 brightness levels for each one, all very dim compared to this one. Which button do I... Oh, that's it. That's the brightest on that one, and for this one, that's the brightest. So clearly that's much brighter. I think it doesn't matter. I think it's probably readable in a dark enough, in certain environments and so on. It probably doesn't. It's not a problem. Nobody would prefer to not have an option of being bright, but it would make me think that this battery could last longer. I don't know if you read through the spec sheet that I put on the screen before. I know I didn't. So I want to see how long how big the battery is. 1,000 milliamp hours. This is the Artec booklet. How much battery space has this one got? It's not saying. It's just using dishonest layman terminology like uninterrupted working time 64 hours with the backlight off. Okay, so press function plus 2.4 gigahertz key, switch to 2.4 gigahertz mode. Press function plus, let's just see if it already, I'm looking it on the screen over here. Can you see my mouse movement? Okay, now we're already playing with it, okay. Question 2, of course. I don't even know what question number we're up to, but I'm just going to say it's number 2. Question 2. Sorry, just putting the paperwork away. Does the trackpad wake it up? I'm just going to turn the keyboard off and on again so I don't have to wait 60 seconds for that bullshit. Okay, turn off now. Does it remember how long it owed me? Is that what's happening here? Is that what you're doing, you little keyboard? Little key. It's got a professional feel to it, really. Seeing into the guts of it like that, you just know liquid's going to get in there too, don't you? Yeah, I think it looks like it's going to go straight down into the circuit board the moment you spill anything. Whereas this has a sort of a catchment area. I've pulled this keyboard apart and just cleaned out every button. But, the act of opening it up causes it to break, just like the double slit experiment causes waves to turn into photons when observed. So this thing's not shutting the fuck up. I'll turn it off, but then it'll remember it's off. If I turn it on, it'll stay on, won't it? I usually choose aqua, or teal, or cyan, or whatever it's called. White just doesn't cut it for me anymore, unless it's good old K830, which looks much better than both of these in terms of the way the keys are lit and the way it glows up and then glows down, whereas this one just abruptly just cuts off with the lighting. It's very dim from an angle. I'm seeing it from this angle, but not that angle. That angle. Well, I don't know, it looks brighter on the screen than it does in my face. This thing will not shut down. Okay, so the arrow keys inside YouTube, turning the volume up and down, which is correct. The right takes it forward 5 seconds, back 5 seconds. Very good for navigating through standard videos that know how the fuck to program, and probably VLC, I assume, as well. I'm not going to open that because it probably pops straight open into porn or something. And there's an OK button, which is the enter key, which doesn't mean anything inside YouTube, the spacebar button, please. Okay, so this is the back button, which should take me back to the previous screen inside this particular browser, which is Chrome, isn't it? No, it's weird. It opens and closes. What? All Windows. There are multiple programs open there, aren't there? All stacked on top of each other. Okay, that's interesting. This button here doesn't do anything. I hope there's a program that comes with this that lets you assign what these 3 buttons do. That'd be cool. So moving this around and tapping.
Beyond the farthest edge of the...
Okay, so single tap clearly works easily. Right click brings up the menu straight away. And now I'm going to try to scroll. No response. Oh, it's backwards. It's upside down. Yeah, see. I had to go into regedit after a lot of research and find something called flip-flop wheel inside regedit, and then change the value from 0 to 1. Always back up your regedit before you edit it. Because this is currently scrolling in the opposite direction that I would like. Because if I usually scroll down... What? Unless I'm deluded. So see, I'm scrolling down and the page is going down on Logitech Pro. Sorry, on the Logitech K30. I scroll down and the page goes down, which is what I want. Whereas on this one, I scroll down and the page is not moving, and I scroll up and the page goes down. That's just stupid, right? That should be flipped. This one is the same as that one. So if I scroll down, I want the page to go down, I think that's what I want. What happens with the mouse wheel? If I scroll down, the page goes down, right? I scroll down with the mouse wheel. Sorry, I would bring a shot. And the thing goes down, and I scroll up, and the page goes up. I definitely want that to be the way things happen.
The universe.
Not this opposite land shit. Let's just have a quick look at regedit. I don't know where the screen's supposed to land. Is that about right? Okay, registry editor. Now, here's what I did. I'm going to save you a million years of effort of searching for everything. Go to find flip flop wheel. Find next. How many? This program doesn't tell you how many instances there are. Can you find all? God, I fucking hate the old Windows shit where it's not giving you lists of things properly. I'll double click that. It's got a current setting of 0. This is inside a device that's got these letters and numbers, but I don't know what this one's allocated to be called. I have no idea. What if I go find next? Yeah, edit, find next. Is that different? I can't tell. This one ends in 0004. Find next. That one ends in 400. Clearly different. They're all under human interface devices. Is that what HID is? Edit, find next. That ends in 400. I'm looking up here as well. Under device parameters, find next. 400. Edit. Find next. That's under. Maybe this is the only one. But why is there only one? There are multiple flip-flop wheel type things going on here. Flip-flop wheel or flip-flop horizontal scroll. Okay, I saw flip-flop wheel would be vertical scroll, and H scroll would be, somebody didn't name it nicely to make those two equivalent with rules. Unfortunately, this will require a computer reset. So I want scrolling to be going down the page when I scroll down the page instead of the opposite. This is like you're pushing things up the page. It's weird. If I scroll, it's weird, it's backwards. This is what I want, just like this. Ready? Down, down, down. By the way, in terms of responsiveness while I'm scrolling, if I ignore that it's backwards, how long do I have to drag for? I mean, if you commit to it, it's no delay at all. Whereas this one has a delay no matter what. There's a feeling of it didn't do it when I did it. It just did it when it wanted to. And with some accuracy. So I give credit to this one, and I think it's because it uses a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, and this one just uses Bluetooth. And look, this one doesn't light up. That was my second question. I didn't get back to it. I need that to stop glowing so I can test if the trackpad wakes it up. And given that I don't think I just clicked any buttons recently, I think it might have just been moving the trackpad, which puts this at the top of the pile. This is by far the best keyboard so far that I've tried. It's had absolutely no... the dongle's right beside it, but the dongle for this Logitech mouse is right beside this as well, and it often breaks up because of this metal table here. Do we have to wait 60 seconds? I'm going to go ahead and change the value for flip-flop value data while we're looking at it, while we're waiting for this keyboard to stop glowing for that test. And I won't click the one on that keyboard, I'll click it on the other keyboard, and I'll leave it as hexadecimal. I don't know what I'm doing, but fuck it. Right? And now if I click in there, the value is 1 still. Okay? Now, without restarting, because it didn't ask me to restart, we can now go back in, now that we've left it for 60 seconds, or whatever, how long it took, and see if just moving the trackpad, fingers crossed, wakes it up. Yes, a common sense keyboard. The only reason that's glowing is because I pressed a key. The trackpad on the Artec and its two buttons do not wake up the keyboard. In fact, if you're using this trackpad for a while, you'll find that the keyboard just goes dark on you. It's awful. It's really awful. Now, this one just woke it up. Now that I've done that, let's have a look and see if going down moves the page down. No, it's still opposite land. Either flip-flop wheel did not apply to here, or it could have applied to here. Let's have a look. No. I may have to restart the computer, and I can see if it goes sprawling and I get a blue screen of death or something, because I shouldn't have fucked with the reg editor. This is a beautiful looking keyboard. Pretty sharp edges against the skin, against your hand, especially here. That's quite sharp. Not super sharp like the cheap-ass K400 from Logitech after their business, I don't know, was ransacked by monsters who killed all the smart people who made the K830 in the old days. But they didn't make this for maintainability. So if somebody could do a better job, then that's what we're looking for. And I think this might be my new favorite keyboard. So maybe I won't tell you what this product is called, and I'll just start buying 1,000 of them and sell them on Amazon. But the thing is, I've already seen them for sale on Amazon. Okay, if I can ignore that, let's see about the pinch to zoom. Pinch to zoom on here. I'll just full screen YouTube. And I'll pinch to zoom on the Artec. Same response basically. And I'll pinch to zoom on the Logitech. Well, it seems like the Logitech is the worst at pinching and zooming. Really, it's really bad. Once again on the Artec. And then on the my keyboard that I'm going to sell to you. These two are better than that, weirdly. This is the best. But they're still bad. It's not like a smooth Apple Magic Trackpad. But Magic Trackpads still don't make it smooth on Windows. Windows just is incapable of ever pinching smoothly. Now, thinking about smooth scrolling, I know I said it's going the wrong way for me, but how good can I get it? Now, this is probably a bit of a bad test because I am too minimized in this. Sorry, 1 second. Let me see if I can do this with the trackpad instead. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm basically resizing. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing now, right? I'm having to hold the left mouse button and move this window bigger and smaller in OBS. And I never know what's causing, like what caused it to just flick just then. Let's see if I try to do the same thing with the RTech. I'll try to resize the. Oh, okay. So it does flick at a certain point. It's the program's fault, probably for automatically snapping or something like that. So it's not the keyboard's fault at all. Okay. And just clicking and dragging, very important thing you got to be able to do nicely with any of these touchpads, because it's not as nice as using a mouse ever. By far the nicest trackpad to use, I think, is the one I'm holding, the Logitech K830, which is obsolete. You can't buy it unless you kill somebody. So let's go back to this one again, the mouse. The mouse is getting actually the worst signal because I think this dongle's got the weakest power or something. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy. But the key, when I automatically went to touch the mouse button, it's too low. That's something they've got wrong. This, like, it's just not in a nice spot. Yeah, that's like, you have to dig your finger downwards. That's really bad. Like, you can't relax your hand. Does it have an extra button up here like some people like? I don't use it, but some people like having a button up there. This one doesn't either. This one does. It has a click button there, so if you did want to do something like click and drag with just your thumb, it's weird though. It's like driving with my left foot. It's weird to do that. There might be some applications where it's not stupidly hard like that, but this isn't one of them. I'm going to give you a bit of a wider shot so we're not so bunched in here. Okay. I like this keyboard. It's good. It's good so far. How's the brightness? 1, 2, 3. No function keys or any of that bullshit just to try and get the lighting different. 1, 2, 3. And unlike that other one that I tested that was made for a Surface Pro or an iPad or something, it doesn't go into some weird demo rainbow shitty mode that just is useless. It looks good, really. Just really cheap and sharp on the edges, though. If it was on a desk, which, well, I mean, you could, like, obviously, if you've got a keyboard, you're probably going to use it on the desk once in a while, even if it is for HTTP purposes. HTPC. It's got a nice lift. It's futuristic compared to the others, which was not something I was definitely chasing. Try these arrow keys here for a second. Wow, look, I'm zooming in and out of my phone camera with the arrow keys right now. I've got it. Having this is a game changer. We'll give you a better lit up look at that. So you got it on this, right? The arrow keys. Plus you've got these arrow keys as well. So what I just did I haven't moved any mouse or anything, right? So this should do it as well. Okay, so why is that better than that? Because when I'm holding it, I guess it's in a fairly nice spot. Okay. And what does clicking to the right do? Nothing, because it all depends on the menu I've selected. And Okay, so these brightness controls. I think from all my research and everything. Well, first of all, I'm sure I'm pressing F1 and F2, not light. So I'm going to hold down the function key and press F1. Wow. Okay, so I don't know, on my screen up here, can you see what's happening when I press the brightness key? If this was a laptop, the brightness would change, but the monitor and the computer are not that good at communicating with each other. Okay? I don't know what kind of monitor would be like that. Now, to get the YouTube back to normal proportions, I'm going to press Ctrl 0. Sorry, while I've clicked on the YouTube, Ctrl 0, and that brings it up to normal size. Still going backwards until I maybe restart the computer, and then flip-flop wheel potentially could come into effect. Volume, let's try that. Nope, that's F12. Let's try function F12. Okay, so you can see the volume meter at the bottom of the screen. It's not changing though. Staying at 33. What's that? 46. I just did that with my mouse though. So I'm going to press function volume up. I don't know if that's because my mouse is hovering over it and the mouse hovering over it was causing an override issue. I'm going to try it again. Function and F12. Nope. Still not working. It just brings it up. It doesn't. And then what? Arrows? Surely not.
But
function volume up. It doesn't work. It just shows you that it exists. What if I press this minus and plus buttons? It's weird that the minus is to the right of the...
past the very limits of
No.
time.
That's not it. What the hell? These volume controls don't do anything at the moment, except show that there's a volume control there. Was there supposed to be a... I'll read the documentation because currently the volume controls are not working.
Space and
that
understanding itself.
This one seems like a space bar, but sometimes is, sometimes isn't. What the hell's going on with that?
Science.
I don't know. That was weird. And I don't like those three buttons. They frighten me. What are these three? Brightness down, brightness up. They work, as you can see. Obviously, it's not going to work with my monitor. This is a search. That puts me into search on my browser.
Scientists have mapped the...
Probably in my default browser, which I'm open it right now. What's this one? That's what, select all or something. Why did that happen? Why would anyone want that? Is it select all? That's a weird button to have as a button. Don't select all. It's so dangerous. Fuck. That's got to be copyright. So you wouldn't see that because Windows doesn't show you anything on the screen when you've copied something to a clipboard. And that would be paste, wouldn't it? Same again. That's cut. It has a pair of scissors. This is dangerous. I wouldn't want to, because I don't always look. I just keep clicking until the volume goes up and down. I don't want to be clicking, cutting, copying. They shouldn't have assigned these buttons like that. It looks like everybody gets the right to, any keyboard maker just gets the right to make up any buttons they want. I never used them on Logitech. There are some bloody stupid buttons that companies decide to chuck up there. It's like every company for themselves or something. And I wouldn't want any of those. And I wouldn't want to have to hold the function key to do that and that. Please, God, let that be volume controls. And it looks like they want to be volume controls when they grow up because they do cause the volume meter to come up on the screen. I'm going to turn it off and on again. Potentially something will happen that will make this work. Or I'll have to restart my computer, which will also maybe help me figure out if the flip-flop wheel command in regedit has had any effect. So I'm going to go restart now. Okay, guys, I've restarted my computer a few times because I've been going into Device Manager to figure out Sorry, I'll right click on that, go to device manager. And if I go into mice and other pointing devices, I'll just go up here for you. Mice and other pointing devices. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I don't know if there are 6 instances, because I think these are the ones that are plugged into my computer right now. But all the ones I've ever used, if I press Windows button and then type regedit. Actually, I think there is an option here to run as administrator. If I go to regedit, so I didn't click that last time. I just pressed enter there, and it still worked. So when I changed flip-flop wheel a bunch of times, just randomly. See, what you're supposed to do is go in here, properties, and then I guess is it this line here? Probably this. Right, and you're supposed to take note of whichever is the correct mouse you want to change. I didn't do that because I don't know which one I'm using. It doesn't, unless I disconnected all the other ones, but I couldn't be bothered, even though it seems like it would have been the fastest way to do it. What I did is find, because I know that I've got to look for flip-flop wheel. And I went, find next. And I just double-clicked on it, and I changed the value to 1. Then I went, look up here, see, this keeps changing. When I go find next, and then I clicked on flip-flop wheel, and that's 0, right? I don't even know what mouse this is. Like, I'd have to cross-reference it somehow. It's too hard. And that's 0004 is quite common. It's either 0004 or quadruple 0. That's all you get. So at the moment, if I just
going to registry, edit.
Go up here for a second, right? So I changed just a whole bunch of flip-flop wheels. Thankfully, if you look at YouTube, you can see as I scroll down with this mouse, you scroll up, it moves the correct direction. Down is down the page, up is up the page. Now, what I've done is I went and changed a whole bunch of them. Haven't tested this one yet. There's a scroll wheel on this thing, right? So if I scroll down, no, it's the opposite way around. I want down to scroll the window down. So potentially go back to the registry. Maybe I haven't done this one yet. I'm going to click 1 on this one. And I just changed another flip-flop wheel. But it won't come into effect until I've restarted the computer. And I don't know what I'm changing here. I'm just changing all the values to 1. In fact, but the problem is 1 is the opposite. So 0 is default on a computer. 0, if there was 1 and 2, because 0 and 1 are 2 options, right? If they numbered it like a human would, 0 is 1 and 2 is the second option, which is 1. That's how they do things on computer. Zeros and ones rather than ones and twos, because it's on and off, generally speaking. But they took that to the extremes with coding, so that's unfortunate. For anybody who's trying to get their head around what 1 means, it means 2. Okay, it's like saying, when is a square not a square? In fact, you could probably figure out a good trick into what's 1 times 1. And you could say it's 4. Anyway, look, I'm just going to go, I'll expand this out. Okay, so just to let you know what I've experienced that are negatives about this keyboard. First of all, sharp edges. There are sharp edges around here. Not great on the hands. Probably not nice on the throat if you're lying in bed and you're turning this up and this slides into you all the time. Very beautiful. Got a very light weight to it. Not bad. I just wish it was rounded edges so it didn't hurt, but it looks so cool on the desk, okay? What does this feel like here, this rubbery thing? Let's turn the light on. So this rubbery edge, which I know is just going to pick up every speck of dust and it's going to be impossible to keep clean. there's no real use for it. It does make the keyboard look better though, until it's dirty. I mean, you're just gonna have to keep wiping that constantly. Get all your cheese, all crumbs out of there. Yeah, I don't think this is a very spill-proof keyboard, but every other aspect of it I love so far, except for the fact that this is too low unless you're just kind of browsing with your thumb. But who uses a cursor, like a mouse pointer, with their thumb? Nobody, right? You do it like this. I also discovered that 3 fingers down, basically, and 3 fingers up changes to full display of keyboard, and then you can from here choose which one you want. Not good because I've got 2 monitors open. I just closed OBS so I couldn't see what I was doing. If I use 3 fingers across, that brings up the selector. So if you do it in quick succession, I'm going across. I'm not sure if you can see that clearly, but I'll land on Firefox. I'll do that again. Go to Chrome. Go across again. Go to Registry Editor. See, it just brings to the front whatever window you want with 3 finger slide. And I didn't know that was a gesture that Windows recognized. It's not something specific to this keyboard, but it definitely works nicer on this keyboard than you can see. I was just jumping across crazily with the Bluetooth one, with the Artec. And if I try it with Logitech, which is plugged in, I'm not sure if
and then
gestures have been disabled somehow. I don't think they have. But on the Logitech, it doesn't work at all. Maybe because this runs through Logitech options, maybe I've disabled that gesture through that program. This might have come. It didn't though, because I've read the whole manual. I've read it from front to back. So first of all, the mouse buttons are annoyingly small, and you go to click there and you think you're on the button that's way down there. Okay, just going by feel. I know you can see it with your eyes, but that's not how you work when you're in the throes of working. Okay, that's in the wrong spot. The minus and plus are labeled correctly. They're Chinese. They don't think like we do. That minus is always on the left. Whoever puts the volume up on that side and the volume down on that side, it's ridiculous. Okay, but I guess they were going with the logic that plus is more and therefore it should be bigger, and this is on this angle, so therefore to make it bigger it has to be that one. They should have still gone minus. But it's not like volume up is more important ever, right? But, and you know how it wasn't working before? It just brought up the volume controls and nothing happened. Well, now I'm happy to say that after turning the computer off and on again, I was hoping, and I was right, that if I do it now, you can see volume's going. I'm instinctively trying to turn the volume up, and it's going down. But I'm not sure how much you can see. Depends on how big your monitor is. You should be able to see that volume control going 12, 14, 16. But also, I'll put this up next to the microphone. Okay. I need multiple hands to be able to do this function. That's stupidly awkward. That's why I would say definitely don't get the Artec, because the volume controls are bad. The Logitech, they all sound pretty shit. But the Artec, with having to press the function key just to use a volume control, it takes this out of the running when you're talking about this versus this. And I know the volume button is important to you, the up and down. We can live with these being back to front, especially given that in Regedit you could probably reverse it somehow if you did really want to track down which device this was, and you could probably reassign these. By the way, home. The home button on the Logitech is function plus left arrow. Oh no, it's also on this as well. You can see if you look right up close, home is written in small writing there. And in fact, in fact, on all three of these keyboards, home is the left arrow. But I think home here with function key and this button are the same thing. It's got a little picture of a home. I think that's what's going to happen. So if I click that now, that makes things, I don't know, tuck away. Let's see if the same thing happens if I press function and home. Nope. Okay, I was wrong. The home button, I think, is simply browser related. In fact, all three of these things might be just browser related for media shit. That's why they annoy me, because nobody knows what the fuck they do. This curvy arrow thing, the only reason I know all this stuff, just let me get this guy out of the way for a second. He helped me with, I was trying to find out how do I know which device I'm using for registry editor. How did I know? Yeah, read through that chart. That's how I found out about the gestures. And also switching between Android, iOS, and Windows by holding down function Q, W, or E. And then up there, specifically here, you can see that if you're using Windows, it means home, and then that one means return, and that one means menu. I don't know. I wouldn't ever trust that the program I'm using would understand what those buttons do, and it does unpredictable things. So I don't know if you want to tape that off or just never touch it. It's kind of... I don't like the noise it makes when I have to turn the volume up and down. And that's down, by the way. It's down, that's up. And that feels weird to me to go back to front like that. As we know, the OK button is just enter, which is pretty useless in most programs. It should be left click, like if you were navigating through something on Netflix or whatever, anything like that, and then you just selected it, that button does nothing. You've still got to come down here or tap there, because, tap gestures clearly work.
Welcome to Home Tech Adventure. With this
Okay. Because this mouse button is just it's such a bad button. They're both in the wrong. They should have doubled the size of those two buttons. I like that they're right pressed up against each other, or they could have made a trackpad where the bottom corner was clickable, which it's not.
tutorial, I will show you how.
Aside from that, I love this keyboard. Is it glowing right now? Let me turn off the lights for a second. It is glowing. It's quite a sunny day, but I've got the curtains closed, but still light coming in. I really do like this keyboard. In fact, if you've been watching my videos and seeing how much I rambled through as I opened the boxes and just checked them all out for the first time at the same time as you did, I can tell you right now with confidence so far, this is the best keyboard, better than the Artec, which is the only one I decided to keep of all the keyboards I tried. All the Re keyboards, this little one here is a Re, by the way. Real Internet Idea, Re. It's
how to change the mouse scroll.
all the large size, full size, I don't know what you'd call this. I'm going to say it's full size, okay, compared to mini regular size keyboards. It doesn't have a num pad, right, but has everything else. The Re ones sucked. The moment you picked it up, there was nowhere to handle the keyboard when you were passing it to somebody. And the left and right mouse buttons on the Re keyboards were just slipping on, and you were just clicking and moving things around the screen just from picking up and moving a keyboard around. You need the keys on the keyboard to be able to be not touched when you're picking it up. Like the palm of my hand, if I picked up one of those Re keyboards, would have just been right-clicking and all sorts of things, right? This is the best, to have a nice big area with just the logo or nothing, right? This is okay. I would rather a bit more space. Like, I want those buttons to be bigger and in a better spot. There's actually a lip here, which is unclickable. Like, you land on a kind of a piece of hard plastic where it's not clickable, so your finger can't go in unless you really aim your finger.
Direction.
And that's the biggest. Okay, there are two big down things. The left and right volume up and down are in the wrong spot. By default, it scrolls in the wrong direction, and those two buttons there. Everything else, it's not as bright as well. The backlighting probably means the battery's going to last longer. This one did not tell me how the size of the battery. This is 1 amp hour, which means it will last an hour if you were drawing 1 amp continuously. But you won't be drawing an amp continuously for an hour. Okay, it'll be I don't know, I can't guess, but I assume you have to charge it once every, I don't know, with the K830 it was about once every 10 days. This one just hasn't been a problem. Keyboards with backlights even are not draining that much. You'd expect a lot more. I reckon this one could be draining a lot because of how bright it is. The K830 just looks sensibly awesome in terms of, look how nice that is, right? Look at how beautiful the K830 is when it's with the backlighting. It is sensationally well lit compared to either of these other two. This is vivid, like you're looking at a cartoon in midair, and look at and the fade in and out is just beautiful. It's not a Rolls Royce. It's still just plastic. It's not a professional keyboard in any way, but it was the best they ever had. This one was the only contender, even slightly, ever. But it had its flaws. Like, there's such a reach you got to do to get to that button down there. But given you know you're down in this area anyway with this one, maybe it'll be okay. But it's just not in a very nice spot, and these buttons suck. But at least it has dedicated volume up and natural. See what the fuck just happened then? I just clicked the volume down button and he started talking. That should not happen. It could be because the base of my thumb, when I press this button, just has to touch and tap on the touch screen. Yeah, that's what's going on. See, they haven't thought this through. They did no quality control. They just approved it. See? I'm just inadvertently tapping it every time I change the volume. I'd have to, like a surgeon, use my forefinger. That's not going to happen. I'm going to light. It might though, because I lie in bed like that, and my thumbs are underneath. But if it's on my lap, I don't know. You shouldn't have to worry about such things. That's something that I didn't know what was going on before, but now I figured it out. The pad of your thumb is tapping as a gesture when you press the volume down, which is on the right. And to get your head around that is just crazy. That's like the left arrow facing, being on the other side. Who does that? Chinese people. Chinese companies. Every time. There has to always be something wrong. They can't just make it perfect. So I would say, despite this being a little bit duller in terms of keyboard brightness, I would never choose settings 1 and 2. They're way too dull. I mean, it's daytime though, so I mean, at night maybe it'll be okay. And I would, and you know, it doesn't glow forever. I'm not sure how long exactly it glows for. I didn't time it properly. It just went for ages. Like, it's going to go for ages now if I don't touch it. It'll still go for like 40 seconds at least. It's too long, and you can't change that. Which is not a real bad fault. People would often complain that keyboards go dull too quick, right? But I never really had a complaint about that with the Logitech. Although, I guess I would have complained potentially, but I think I just got used to. See, the one underneath is still glowing. I just got used to tapping one of these. No, I didn't tap that. I just moved the trackpad. Right, the trackpad wakes it up, and it stays lit for, I don't know, 10 seconds or something. Whereas you can see that other one underneath is just remaining crazily lit forever. The Logitech's got a sensible timeout, and I'm always confident that the battery's going to last for a long time. Whereas this one, who knows? I think they might have fucked up. Boom, and it just snaps off unprofessionally. So it's not beautiful that the lights just click off like that and then I guess click on. But at least with this one, the trackpad wakes up the backlight. Another thing I found that was a problem was when I turn Windows on, I can't use the trackpad to wake up the keyboard. I have to press a keyboard button. Even though the trackpad wakes up the backlight, it does not wake up the keyboard when it's gone to sleep, which seems to happen after Windows has been turned off and on again, like after you reset your PC. It's not a major problem. I'm not resetting my PC constantly. I am at the moment because I've just installed Windows 11 for the first time. So I'm doing all the program modifications and stuff, make it all work. But apparently this one stays active for 40 minutes and then it goes to sleep. And then you press a key on the keyboard to wake it up. You don't ever have to really turn it off, ever, okay? Just charge it once every 10 days or so, I think. I'm guessing that. With the Logitech, it was every 10 days. If the battery life is good, if 1 amp hour is enough, 1,000 milliamp hours, I've got to say this is the best keyboard on Amazon. I'm going to go into Amazon now and try to find this keyboard for you. Based on this name, I'll go to Amazon America. So I'm on Amazon.com and I'm going to look for, I'll try this keyboard, BK 9801 TB. Has anyone called it that? Yes, straight away. $40. There you go. 3 stars. Wow, okay, that's low. That's low. I'm very happy with it so far. Let's see what their complaints are. 2 votes. Let's see what these ratings. Only 2 ratings. Owned for 4 months and keys are buggy. Right, 1 star. And the other person gave 5 stars with no review. Okay, guys, here is the BK 9801TB keyboard in Amazon. $39.90. It's got 2 ratings. I read them already. One's 5 star without any comment, and this guy's given it 1 star, which is the lowest score you can get. Owned for 4 months and keys are buggy. I would say the keys buggy is potentially communication between the keys and the receiver. So maybe put it in a better spot, but it could be a weak receiver. I haven't played with it long enough. I've just taken it out of the box and done the experiments you've seen me do. So there it's $40, right? So far, I'm recommending it. And don't disagree with that guy. Haven't had it for 4 months. Here are some more pictures that they've put up. And here it is on Alibaba for Get Sample, $17. Okay? But then the delivery is going to be added to that. If you want to save $23, but you know, if you're a Prime member, you get free delivery, right? It'll come straight to your door. Okay? And that's it. They've highlighted it's 1,000 milliamp hours. So that could be a good thing. If I look at Logitech K830, I'll put links to both of those places to buy, which is Amazon and Alibaba, in the description in case you want to do it. The shipping is not included in Alibaba, that's for sure. It's probably about $13 or something. And you might have to pay a lot of tax if you're in the United States because of the tariffs. Logitech K830 battery amp hour 1.1, so it's 10% more battery space in the Logitech K830, which I charge every 10 days. But then again, the keyboard doesn't stay lit for so long after I've stopped touching it, whereas this one stays lit longer. And I don't know if that's okay because this one is dimmer. Let's just look at the brightness levels again. So we're talking about Logitech where the keys light up like this. That's the brightest. And this is the brightest setting on this one. That's the brightest. Okay, and this one stays lit for ages and this one turns off very quickly. Both of them are awoken by the trackpad, but the Logitech also wakes the keyboard from being asleep, no matter what. Whereas this one, you've got to press a key on the keyboard just to wake it up when you restart Windows, or after 40 minutes. You can't just do that if you haven't touched it for 40 minutes, because the keyboard will sleep to save battery life. It could be that the Logitech K830 does not go to sleep ever, and it still lasts for 10 days. Whereas this BK9801TB does go to sleep. My recommendation, if you are choosing between Amazon and Alibaba, because of shipping convenience and because I will get a commission, you get on there and you buy it from these guys, okay? Amazon has a pretty much no questions asked returns policy. You test it. Obviously, if it's faulty and it's got this key issue, keys are buggy, check that the keys are buggy within the return spectrum, however long that is, 1 month maybe, right? I'm not sure how long you get where you can say, I think it's 30 days. Pretty sure it's 30 days. Okay, this one, if I was in the United States, probably I would get it within 4 days delivered. Oh, but if I was Prime member, which I am, I'd get it within 1 day. And I am a Prime member, I'm just not logged in because I don't want to steal my bloody information. Yeah, I still, despite what that guy said in his review, the other guy gave it 5, or the girl, whatever she is, it is. I don't know how 5 stars represents 52% and 1 star represents 48%. It looks like Amazon's just making it up as they go along. Probably because they don't want it to land at the 2.5 mark. But if I hover over, does it tell you more specifically how that averages? It doesn't. I don't know what that means. 50. No, it's just they've obviously just erred on the side of favorite, like trying to keep their sellers a little bit happy. But I know as a seller, they're awful. I hate dealing with Amazon. As a seller, as a buyer, shoes, we're so well cared for. I am so happy with their 24-hour delivery system. So, yeah, this is not labelled as what I said, which is what's written on the paperwork that comes in the box. And this keyboard is actually called the BK9801TB. I think you should buy this keyboard over the Artec. And just one more time, you will want to, unless you're a weirdo, go into Regedit and reverse the scrolling so that, see, it's right, it's correct now. I'm scrolling down and the page is going down. I scroll up and the page is going up. That's what you want. Now, unfortunately, when I changed all the keys for 0s to 1s and stuff, I inadvertently made this one backwards because the default was the way I like it, whereas these have been programmed somehow with their internal chips or whatever to do the other thing. So I'm going to have to go in there and meticulously keep trial and erroring and have to restart the computer after every test. I'm going to have to bloody unhook all the mice and just do them all separately so that I stand a chance. By the way, just to get into Device Manager or get into Regedit or anything, you don't have to go through menu systems. You just go Windows and then you type what you want. It immediately will do it. This is Windows 11, same in Windows 10. and probably same Windows 7 and everything else as well. You just type what you want. So you've got device manager, okay? Device manager, and it's instantly one of the search options. It's the first one. And then you're in, right? Then you go to, like, see, if I go to keyboards, Windows doesn't understand HTPC keyboards with a trackpad. Well, it is a pointing device. I'm pretty sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll tell you what I do. I will, right now, switch off my RTech and see what happens on the screen here. I'm going to switch it off using the off-on button. Okay, it did change on its own. Look, there are less now. I'll turn off the Logitech keyboard that's on my desk. I've got 2 of them in the house. Okay, I just turned it off. Setting by. Let's see if it does that toll refresh thing that it just did a second ago for the RTech. No, it doesn't care. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me go back. What if I do this? Close, open, 1, 2, didn't change it. I'll turn the Logitech back on again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, didn't change anything. I'll reach under the mouse that I'm holding right now and I'll switch it off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, I don't know why it how to update this. At any rate, if you double click it and go into, I don't know, maybe it's down in here somewhere. Bloody numbers everywhere. Do we need enumerator or something? Like, he's only got 1 mouse, so it's easy for him. But it'll show on the screen what number he's looking for. So he's gone into details.
Path from this menu.
Device instance
That's
path.
what we need.
Thank
So
you. Very clear. Device instant path. So you go in there, details, device instant path. Okay, right. So for whatever mouse is currently selected, and they're all named the exact same thing, I think the secret is, don't waste your time going through all the software and trying to check everything like that. Just disconnect all other mice compared to the one you want. Find this number, and then go in and fix it. And then go into, sorry, I'm really tired. Then go into regedit. Yes. Go and, I don't know, fucking find flip-flop. Actually, right, for example, instead of flip-flop wheel, I'd just go and right-click, copy, then go into there, paste. Oh, fuck. Okay, that's a problem. I'll show what just happened. I went Ctrl-V, and it didn't do anything, and I realized they've put the function key before the control key on this keyboard. There's always fucking some Chinese bullshit going on with this stuff, right? Controls on the outside there, controls on the outside there, functions internal, functions the inner second one and everything else, right? Even on this one, everyone knows to put control. It's such an important button. Just reach over into controls. Now I've got to fucking feel across each time. Now this keyboard's starting to piss me off a bit. I've got 3 floors now, negative, positive, wrong way around. These buttons are in the wrong spot, and the function key is definitely in the wrong spot. In fact, Alt and Windows are back to front. Now in regedit, potentially you could reverse what these buttons are wired to do, but you wouldn't bother. You just have to just get used to it, okay? So that's just an ongoing thing with this keyboard. The control button, the alt button, and all these other things are all in the wrong spot. Maybe this is how they do it on Mac PCs, and they're just trying to normalize that for those people. But, you know, they've got cut and paste and all these destructive buttons up here that you wouldn't put cut, paste. You can easily overwrite years of work, right? I use documents all the time. I'm going to make damn sure that these buttons are set to function keys, and I'll probably never use them for anything else, given that I don't need these 2 volume controls, which would be adjusting the volume of the computer like this. At least I can see that left and right. This is only good to use a function for volume if you're sitting at a desk and you're seeing everything nicely. If you're on the couch and this thing's on your lap, you just want to go, right, volume up, but you're not doing volume up, you're doing volume down. It's backwards. And then your thumb is pressing against this, just goes action, 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 action. You're clicking things destructively all over the place. If you're changing registry keys and this sort of stuff, like I do all the time, you're fucking like causing massive amounts of damage, not being in control of your mouse. Okay? Warning. So that is a big downside for this keyboard if you're doing a whole bunch of technical stuff, to have that volume control up and down in such a bad location. I wish that was mute, volume down and volume up, just like that. That's just obvious. But they're Chinese. They don't know what obvious means. Having the up and down controls there, it might be easier for me in certain holding positions when navigating through some menus, but given that that is not the left mouse button, I would probably change that in regedit. That's one thing I would change in regedit, because the enter key is what that is, right? Is so useless being there. I would make that the left mouse click, straight up, if I went into regedit and figured out what that was. And I'm sure there's a way to do that. Same with this one, right? It would be super useful. Down, left, up, right, enter, right? But not enter, left click. And that's left click on this keyboard, which is another stupid Chinese idea to put them up there, which is in a really bad, dodgy spot. Despite all these things, although it has lost points for putting the function on the outer edge, I use the control button 7 million times a day, and I just know, from click, left click, control C, control V, control Z, control A, control 1, 2, 3, 4, that's how I change my layout on things. That's like my Windows. So I've assigned with auto hotkey, right? If I press control, I was about to just point to that as control. That is control now. If I press control 1, that'll duplicate all my monitors. That'll extend them. That will make everything 1080 by 1920 by 1080, and that will make everything 51 whatever it is by whatever it is. So 5K for my 5K screen in front of me here, this ultra wide, which I've reduced in size, so it's all nice for you to look at, because otherwise, I mean, although I could try, now that like it's assigned, I'm really using the bottom half of the screen here. Let's see what happens if I press Control 4 right now. I'll click on the screen over here first. I'll press Control. Wait, I'll just cancel out that. Control 4. Okay, so the monitors are moving around. Okay, how's that? That's 5K. If I can keep everything nice and shrunk down like this for you, you'll be able to see a lot of what's going on up here. Although it's not going to be as nice as it looks for me. It's going to be tiny and probably unreadable on a 1080, because the writing's super tiny for you now, isn't it? And look, even a full video screen here like this is going to give you black bars on both sides.
I'm going to copy that, so I'll right click and choose copy. I'll go over to my notepad and I'll choose paste. Now,
okay, so now he's saying he can go to his notepad and choose paste. I don't think he needs to do that. You just do what I did, just go straight in and out.
I have that in there.
I was a bit worried that the escape button, I had a keyboard recently where the escape button had been bastardized so that you needed to press the function key in order to press the escape. Having function as the most important bottom left button is just fucking stupid. Why didn't they copy every other keyboard that exists and just go like this? Control, function, Windows, Alt, right? Instead they've gone function, control, Alt, Windows. Morons. Fuck. So that's a problem, these two buttons, all these buttons being rearranged incorrectly. The light buttons are fine, mostly. I sometimes use these control and alt buttons here on the right-hand side of the spacebar, but most often I use the ones on the left, so it's not a big loss, but I would rather, once I've set the keyboard lighting conditions, I don't want to have to I'm not doing this all the time, just making sure that I'm, having a fun time with my keyboard lighting. You know what I mean? It's just make them function keys, right? Give me the Alt. I'd rather have the Alt and Control here. Given that I'm going to label this video, and I don't know that there are many reviews for this keyboard, and nobody really knows the name of it. Once again, it is the BK9801TB from No Name Brand. One review has been written on Amazon that says the keyboards are not very responsive. He doesn't say specifically when within the 4 months, but it was a bad review. He gave it 1 star. The other person gave it 5 stars and didn't write a review at all. These 3 buttons are annoyingly media related. Or fucking they just do whatever they want. See, I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, but that just fucked up. I'm going to give you back.
What lies beyond?
I'm going to give you back the non-5K screen because I don't think you can handle the big one. So I'm going to press Control 3. That's going to change all the screens to be 1080p. I had to press it twice. Maybe it's because the keys were not responsive. So mouse wheel's good. This goes down when I want now because I changed it in Registry Editor. The flip-flop wheel function from 0 to 1. That's good. And I might investigate that as a left mouse click. So far, for $17 American, which is like $3,000 Australian. No, it's about, I'd say $45 with delivery. Something like that, maybe $50. Because the delivery's not included. I don't know if I found it on Amazon or wasn't able to be delivered to Australia from Amazon or something. I don't know. Or I didn't research it there. I always regret waiting for deliveries from China. But this came well packaged in bubble wrap and everything. Yeah, I would say try it. Get it from Amazon. It'll be fast delivery and you can send it back if you don't like it. And I like it better so far than the Artec. The Artec HB, blah, 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 backlit, whatever it's called. I turned it off. This is only Bluetooth as well. So it's got latency with the thumb pad. At least the buttons are big and clickable. The one thing that's wrong with this though is when you're feeling for the left and right mouse click, you don't want to be looking at your keyboard while you're using your keyboard. You know that, right? You just want to be able to feel your way around it and just do everything intuitively. That's like an Xbox controller. Imagine if you were playing an Xbox and you had to keep looking at the freaking controller in order to play the game. It's absolutely a deal breaker. At least with this one, that's definitely raised and that's lowered. So you can definitely feel it. You've got the hard plastic. It's not, the mouse buttons on this are very not nice. Right, left. And the volume controls are back to front. I'm just going over old ground. I don't know what else to tell you. The keys up here above the function, the secondary functions are destructive, like copy, paste, and all. And you know, you could totally fuck up. And like if your program doesn't allow you to, undo, then redo, then paste, then copy, then redo, then undo, then paste, and it only gives you the steps back. Like, if you press the back button to a certain point just to check on something, and then you like change it, and then you try to go forward to like the extra 20 hours of work you've done, you've lost it. Unless it was saved along the way. Most programs are saving for you, hopefully, but they will overwrite your previous saves as well. So be careful with these fucking buttons up here. You have to press the function button to activate them anyway. But I wouldn't be risking using them. The only ones you would need are volume. If you're using this for your Windows PC, I doubt that you'd have any use for brightness up and brightness down, which wouldn't affect your monitor or projector or anything. These volume controls are very scary when in the way you would probably hold this, in that when you press volume down, which is on the right for fuck's sake, you're tapping the left mouse button constantly, unless you totally do a reach around and try to avoid it. But you can see the meat of my thumb pad really. I'll hover my mouse over somewhere that could be affected if I did do it. I'm going to try to just I didn't do anything. I mean, I probably tapped.
the farthest edge
I did that
of the
deliberately.
universe,
I want to double tap.
not just beyond.
Pause. Right. And if I click there on the volume down, okay, luckily I'm in the up a bit. I'm being ultra careful, by the way. I can't just casually go and press volume down because there's every chance
stars
it'll
or the galaxies,
start and pause
or
and
even
stuff,
the cosmic
or not.
microwave
Right?
background, but past the very
It's ridiculous. And the amount of noise that it makes is ridiculous too. But then, as I showed you earlier, the Logitech keyboard makes noise when I turn the volume up and down, but that's loud. A few complaints I've got. The guy who gave 1-star review was the only person in the world who has ever reviewed this on Amazon. I probably wouldn't trust Alibaba reviews. The Chinese aren't really known for their honesty or their competency. But in this case, I think they did a mostly good job. It's a very nice looking keyboard. Bit plasticky, but then so is everything else. Okay? In my opinion, the Arctic's worth a shot, but it has laggy Bluetooth keyboard. But it's good. But you've got to use function key to change the volume on this one. But at least they're in the right order, left and right, and it doesn't have destructive cut and copy buttons all over the place that would destroy your documents. Having cut and copy and all that sort of stuff as direct fucking, just casually chuck it into a normal key on a keyboard. No, unacceptable. Too dangerous. But just don't ever use the function row up there. Just remember, if you've got this and it's not working properly for your particular setup, if you hold the function and press Q, it's labeled on it. That'll make this keyboard compatible with iOS. If you hold the function plus W, you'll set up for Android. I don't know what they're talking about. Android, what does that mean? Is Android an operating system? I guess if you're using this keyboard with a phone or a Galaxy Tab, is that Android? I guess for Android. So I guess this keyboard could be used for Mac, for iPads and iPhones and stuff as well. If you put those things in holders, if you want to use your iPad to type an essay, but you wanted the full screen, you could use this keyboard probably in Bluetooth mode. I didn't go through the Bluetooth setup buttons, but it's written in the instruction book. In terms of the 2.4 gigahertz connectivity, I just shoved it in the first available USB-A socket on my PC, and it was instantly recognized, but the volume up and down buttons didn't work, and then I turned the computer off and on again, and somehow the drivers
space
automatically
and
installed.
understanding itself.
As you can see, as I just went to change the volume up and down buttons, I'm not holding it in the best way possible, but this is how I might hold it. At least there is a place to hold it down here, which I like. This here is tapping the left mouse button all the time because of the positioning of those two buttons there. It's just dumb as fuck. And the fact that they're the wrong way around. God, I'm so fucking tired. You've heard everything. There's nothing more to add. Don't press any of those function buttons at the top. These buttons suck. The trackpad and the scroll works well after you go into Regedit and reverse it with flip-flop wheel. Unless you're a weirdo who likes to scroll the wrong way around, which means I'll go back into Regedit and figure out what I've done here and change it back to 0 for that particular keyboard. These are all back to front. They've wasted Control and Alt on this side. It's not very bright for the backlighting, but it might be okay at night. I could turn off all the lights, but I'm sure you can imagine what it looks like when the lights are more off than they are now. I'll give you a little bit of shade to help you with your imagination. As you can see there,
Scientists have mapped.
I'm shading what would otherwise be quite unlit if it was not glowing. Okay? If you need that for your imagination. You can easily change colors if you ever get bored. But brightness is going to perpetually stay that bright maximum. Thank you. Good night. I recommend it. In summary, I recommend it despite its shortcomings. Logitech K830 has shortcomings too. I didn't rip it to pieces as much as I ripped this one apart. Do I prefer the Logitech K830? Yeah, because it's got nice rounded edges and it fits in my hand, but it is quite heavy. And this one is 3/4 of the weight. And this one is about the same weight as this. They're all about the same size, these three keyboards. I would say at this point in history, I'm just going to give you a full view here. Of these three keyboards and the Re8, let's put them in a little race as well, okay? And a mouse. I'll let the mouse stay in the competition too. And also I'll include the app where you can use your phone as a touch screen, like a touchpad for your PC with a keyboard that pops up as required. I've unsubscribed. It was a free trial for 3 days. I reviewed it. You have to constantly look at the phone and you can never rest your hand, because the moment your hand rests on anything, it's just activating things, right? You want to be able to feel the buttons. When it was trackpad mode, that was fine. As soon as I had to go to keyboard, I was constantly looking, and it didn't go left, right like this. I wasn't able to type on the left down here and then use this thumb pad here. On the phone, I had to kind of either have it was like a vertical split with the keyboard fully that way. If I turned it sideways, the keyboard would be everything, and I'd have to completely remove the keyboard each time. Not very good. And this was better than using the iPad, even though the iPad had more of a screen split, but it still split it in a wrong direction, and you could never do it just by holding it sideways in horizontal landscape mode. Okay, so I'd put that in last place out of the ones we've got on this table. In terms of keyboard, definitely the iPhone interface, and I had the best one on the market. It's $30 to buy it. Worst one out of everything. You can't feel the buttons. You can't rest your hand. You've got to look every time you touch a screen, and it's not precise. I kind of enjoy typing on this one. If I have to compare it to typing on a phone screen, you can look at the side-by-side size. It's almost exactly the same. It's backlit, and you can hover, you can rest your thumbs on all the buttons, and you're not inadvertently just activating shit all over the place, right? You have to click in, which is a million times better than dealing with a phone, okay? The positioning of the left and right mouse button is stupid, but the amount of range and you know, all the scrolly stuff works well, and it's even got a dedicated scroll wheel. I find this to be a little bit ugly, this red rolling thing and all this stuff. And once again, they've put these three mega important weird buttons here on the Re X8, but at least the volume buttons can be found by feel. It would be nice if they just stood alone and the mute button wasn't in a weird separate thing. Just get rid of whatever those two buttons do, which I never use. As we discovered earlier, the home button is really it creates a new tab, I think, in your Windows-specific browser option that you've chosen. So for me, it just opened a new tab in, I think it's Chrome. Unfortunately, Chrome and Firefox don't really label what they are. You'd have to really go in and read it. Currently, I'll bring up display capture again so you can see what's going on up here. So, what place does this come in terms of the keyboard? Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 devices. Well, this comes last because there's no keyboard. This comes second last because you can't rest your fingers. And you've got to be very precise and look at it the whole time. I'd say this comes in first place for couch, like passing it around for just basic Netflix, but not for typing. You don't want to be typing big things like long journals or essays or documents or whatever with your thumbs, which means that for the keyboard it comes into third last place, or 1, 2, 3, fourth place. Okay, but when you're just doing quick browsing and it's just the keyboard is a minor deal, and you're lying in bed and you've got all this stuff around you like food and drinks and like vaporizers and shit, this thing can just be chucked around just like your projector and TV remote controls and stuff. But still, for the keyboard, I'm going to have to put it in fourth place for not being the best of the keyboards, right? The third place for the keyboard, let me just remember what it's like. First place for keyboard is... Okay, this one cannot be first and second because these keys are the wrong way around and they sacrificed the control and option buttons here. Sorry, control and alt buttons. So for the keyboard, this comes last. It's also got dangerous cut and paste buttons that if you are pressing function and just fumbling around trying to find the volume control using that system, which you don't need to, luckily, although you might because that becomes an issue. That's absolutely potentially destructive. If you like, I write television scripts, and if I sit there in a session for like 35 hours of just plain typing, sure it's saving, but it's saving over a previous save each time. So if I cut, paste, and just write over something, and then go, oh my god, about 4 hours ago, I must have touched over something and then typed over the top of it and it's gone. I need to restore back, but there's no restore point unless I go out of my way to create a backup version. And this keyboard would be guilty of destroying all that work. Ideas I'll never get back because, you know, you get a spark of an idea just out of pure luck, really. This keyboard would destroy that. So this keyboard potentially could be last, even lower than the mouse, but the mouse can't. Right. All right, I'll put it above the mouse. I'll put it above this too. Should I put it above this though? I mean, it is a freaking full... You can rest your fingers on it and use it as a keyboard. I'm not a touch typer, but it's a nice keyboard except for what those function keys do, okay? All right, I'm going to put that extra side buttons and that stuff in a separate category. Keyboard third. Keyboard here. The razors. Okay, so for the... Let's just have a look at the keyboard up close here. That's what the keyboard looks like. That's the finish on it. There's that rubber thing at the base. You've got the left and right mouse buttons. And that's what that keyboard looks like. It feels nice to the touch, okay? It's not really nice around the edges to hold. That's sharp, right? That's very sharp on the edges there. It would cut into you if it was pressed against you. Out of these two, the best keyboard, I'm not really... I like... Okay, for example, in terms of appearance, when it's backlit, that one looks the best, for sure. You saw it when the sun was not shining in too much. That was the best looking keyboard, for sure, in terms of looks. Whereas this kind of looks just too... Why do you need a square around every button? It's just too much. That's classy. Let's go make that bright again. That's classy and futuristic. That is ugly and busy. Too much happening with all the squares everywhere. It's ugly. So in appearance-wise... Okay, in appearance-wise, for the keyboard, I'd say this one wins. This new one. It's beautiful looking. It is futuristic. Black on gunmetal grey with blue backlight. I mean, you can't get much more futuristic than that, except for, like, imagine the right-hand side was a bit more modern somewhere, right? Because they kind of fucked up with some dickhead who decided to do all this shit incorrectly. But yeah, in terms of the colour scheme, I think this one's the best. In terms of looks. In terms of the problems, no. Low. This one versus this one for first and second place. Appearance-wise, definitely the Logitech. If we're talking about function keys and stuff, the Logitech doesn't have volume controls that require a function press, like a two-handed volume up and down. It's clearly separated, but that's going to be a separate issue. But because we know that, it has to win. Also, what about the feel of the buttons, the spacing? These ones are clearly closer together. What about cleanability between the keys? Now, they're both going to get dirty in between the keys, and you just have to, well, pull the keyboard apart and put it under a hard pressure tap, scrub the shit. But forgetting that, what's nice to interface with your fingers? I mean, these are lowered, and the other thing is here, I've got to say, it's very important, you cannot feel the difference between pressing the arrow keys and the mouse keys when you're down here. It's all just the same height, basically. If it is a small amount of difference between the altitude of these, how much each of these keys are raised and lowered, it's not haptically available to my brain when that's happening. I'm just down here and I'm pressing the right arrow instead of the left mouse button, and that sickens me. So I want it to feel different, and also the positioning of the trackpad, which is not even in the topic. So yeah, I'm going to give first place to the Logitech K830 for the keyboard, second place to the Artec, third place to the no-name brand BK9801 TB, and then it goes boom, boom, boom for keyboard. Now, second question, trackpad, who's best? The responsiveness on the trackpad on the phone, if you had that exclusively as a trackpad, that would win. The pinch and zoom, and it's all Apple stuff, right? And you can just swipe and it's beautiful. But that's not going to be nicely connected to your keyboard. So, and also it doesn't have dedicated left and right buttons, which has to be part of the equation here. Left clicking and stuff is like touch screen left and click. So in that case, you can't win. Only for gestures does the Apple downloadable third-party touchpad beat any of these others. Of course, touchpad has to include the mouse in that competition, and all the functions that come with it that control the mouse. So this scroll wheel, for example, adds into the equation in terms of this competition, as do the arrow keys on this thing, which give you multiple options for this one and this one. Having said all that, I'm going to put the iPhone again with the app in last place. Then the next one, by the way, for trackpad and mouse and everything, I'm definitely putting the mouse in first place. Mouse with mouse wheel. The mouse wheel is awesome. Middle click, awesome. Right click, awesome. Left click, awesome. But when you're in bed, your arm gets pins and needles after a while from having your arm beside you down below you, and you're looking up at the ceiling projector, and you just wish you had a touchpad that was easy. In fact, you kind of wish you had a thumb trackpad when you're lying in bed with a left and right mouse click. But unfortunately, this one doesn't have left and right mouse click at the bottom of it, which is what you want. And it would be nicer to have it down over here somewhere. Although when you're sort of holding it in the palms of your hands, that can be okay, I guess. The other thing about this one is it doesn't wake up the keyboard. Like, I have to keep pressing some key on the keyboard to make the mouse actually do stuff for this one. So what position are we putting the trackpad in? So that's last place, first place. What comes after the mouse in terms of trackpad usability here? Well, this one has buttons too low, and they're not easy to tap, but it is 2.4 gigahertz. So we'll go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth place. Fifth place for the trackpad has to go to the Artec because it's Bluetooth. None of the others are Bluetooth. They can be Bluetooth as well, but this is exclusively only Bluetooth. So it's got clear latency with a lot of things you do. And it's annoying. All right, so you've got no real accuracy with scrolling and stuff like that. So it goes 6, 5, and 4 would be for trackpad. either this one or this one. No, it's got to be this one, unless we're talking about workarounds for lying in bed. This scroll wheel's kind of handy though, but then you need to move around sometimes straight after, so it's like, yeah. I mean, I don't know, the mouse wheel I got to do that too, but it's all one motion, I guess, because the finger just moves and the mouse can keep moving. But on this, it's like, give up the whole mouse and just have the scroll wheel. It's just a bit weird, you know. But I guess they're making the best of some situation that didn't need to have a problem in the first place, maybe. I don't know. So, this one versus this one for 4th place. This feels nice. It's got a big range to it. It's built in. It's part of the keyboard set up in here. I'm right and left. If it wasn't for the right and left mouse click being too low, and also too small, I mean, this is good. I mean, I could even say it's as good as the Logitech, but the Logitech has a nice glass feel to it. I mean, no. Okay. I'm going to put this ahead of this one. So this goes 6th place, 5th place. Oh, sorry, no. 6th place, 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place for the trackpad /mouse controls. Even though this has this stuff as well, if I reassigned the OK button on either of these or both these things, as a left mouse button instead of an enter key, this control here might be something I would use regularly instead of a mouse, because I've been playing Xbox lately and just using up and down and round with the thumb works really well, right? This would be on the left hand side on that one, and it would be on the right thumb if I was holding it like that, like for this one. But it's not easy to reach. It's not a good spot, and potentially the palm of your hand would press against the left mouse click while you're doing that. So it's not a good spot. If that was further out here or whatever, maybe these sharp edges weren't cutting into your hand while you used it. Yeah, but it doesn't rate that well to have this, whatever they've decided to do on this side of the keyboard. I think it probably was the same person, because these keys are all back around the wrong way. Okay, so I'm not going to remember what I said. I hope you're taking notes, and I'm not writing it and making some nice presentation on the screen for you. I'm uncovering this all for you right now, and you're lucky to get it at all. I don't think there are any reviews in the world apart from this one, so fuck you. Now, what else are we going to look at? Backlighting. Best backlighting, this one. And then this is good. How do you change the colors on this? I don't think it's that hard. Boom, 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 boom. Rainbow. Nice little backlit thing. Unfortunately, the trackpad doesn't illuminate it. Loses points for that, but the backlighting itself is good. Backlighting on this is weak, but it could be good enough. Look at the difference in brightness between all these. Logitech K830 definitely wins the backlighting competition, including the glow up and glow down in a reasonable amount of time. These all seem to remain lit for way too long, although that's probably not something people are going to complain about. They'll rejoice in it probably. Not being able to assign how long on any keyboard ever is pretty weak programming. Logitech at least comes with a software program with limited options that they've decided you're allowed to have. One of them, I don't think one of them is how long you want it to stay backlit for. Anyway, so in order of appearance in terms of beauty, having a rectangle around each key is ugly in my opinion, compared to having no. These two are better looking than those two because of the key squares around the rectangles around everything. Completely unnecessary, makes it less beautiful. Therefore, first, second, in terms of backlighting appearance. In terms of overall good looks for the keyboards, this is the best looking by far, I think. This one. Until you realise that those bloody buttons are too small and the volume down and up are in the wrong spots. Let's now talk about side components, like extra buttons on things. And we'll have to obviously include function controls to let keyboards like this be part of the competition, because this doesn't really have any, it just has an on-off switch. The Logitech has the mute, volume down, volume up in the correct order, like a normal person would do, not a Chinese person. And from China over here, we got the volume down on the right and volume up on the left. And as you press it, you're inadvertently clicking the trackpad. But it is possible to aim if you use your pointer finger rather than your thumb, because with your thumb, you're shadowing your thumb down over everything, right? And you're accidentally going to click everything. But if you don't hold it like this, but you are sitting on a couch most of the time, you're playing with this thing, if you put it on your lap and you're using your fingertips, this one will be probably okay, not a problem. These buttons are going to fuck you up. Whatever you're doing, it'll wreck what you're doing, because you're never going to think to choose to do that rather than use a mouse control to get things done. So I wish they weren't there. This arrow key thing probably would be good if it was there, in which case you can put nice big mute, volume down, volume up buttons there, but they didn't. All these function keys here are pretty shit. I would never use them except volume up and down. They didn't give me a mute on any of the versions of the volume control. So I'd probably only ever use them as F1 to F12 and delete. I think we're missing an insert button here, which is not something I use, but just on the K830 goes F1 through to F12, then insert, then delete. This one doesn't have an insert button either. This little one, no, doesn't have an insert or a delete. So here it says backspace, and if you press function, it becomes delete. Whereas backspace is a dedicated button with no secondary option on those two, and it's a print screen button on the K830. The delete button with a function key is Bluetooth seeking, so that would put this in Bluetooth mode. Connectivity. This one loses because it's Bluetooth, so it has latency. Same with Bluetooth headphones. That's why you should buy my Zen.com, ZXEN.com Airlinks. This is the receiver. It's not paired to, oh, it is. This one and the one that's been sitting on my belt with my headphones in are both receiving the same transmission. I've paired up to 4 Airlinks together from one transmitter, so you can have sort of a silent disco. But more reasonably, you would use it if you're a band or if you're a video editor and you don't want any latency at all when you're video editing. And you certainly want to be able to walk around the house with just any headphones you want with this tiny little thing stuck to your belt pack. ZXEN.com. I don't know if I'll put it in the description below, but it's basically my channel's name.com. Zen.com. Okay, I think this channel's called Zen Music, but just Zen.com. It'll take you to the shop. You can buy some. They're really good. 10-hour battery life on both the transmitter and receiver, but I leave the transmitter plugged in 24 hours a day. It's not a problem. I leave it plugged in so it's always on, so it's got permanent power. That could cause a humming problem if you didn't arrange cables correctly, but yeah, most of the time you're sort of expected when you use this product to be on the go with a band or something, but you don't need to be in a band. You can just be sitting at your computer. And you don't want to have a wire connecting you to your computer. You just want to have something lightweight that connects to your normal headphones and then the transmitter is coming from your PC. Easy. It's just got a 3.5mm jack for headphones on this one, or line out if you're going straight into a mixing desk or whatever you want to do. And the other end has got a transmitter coming from the PC out from the computer, or in my case, from my mixing desk. Okay, and my transmitter just looks exactly the same as this, except it's got different buttons on it and says transmitter instead of receiver. Okay, getting back to these keyboards now. In conclusion, which is the best keyboard here? Why is that one up on one side and down on the other? It's just my perspective, I guess. This one has not got its feet up either. It's nicer from my angle to look at it like that. As a desk keyboard, this is beautiful. As a handheld keyboard, it's a bit uncomfortable because it's got such sharp edges. Would it slide off your lap? Yeah. They all do. And it's better than having this big lump thing here. Having some weight sort of helps, but this slides all over the place as well. It's smooth as, you know. They're all sliding off your lap, all of them, except this one. So for convenience, this one's the best because you can just hold it in one hand, not a problem. The best overall keyboard here for HTPC for most people would be the X8. Okay? Most of you do not type that much when you're using your home theater PC. I'm using the mouse by default. I never go to a trackpad if I've got a mouse, but I don't take my mouse into the other room. But as I said, I sometimes do video editing, which is very mouse reliant and a huge amount of accuracy required. So I should always just take my mouse into my living room to put on the coffee table next to my sofa, which is at the same height as my sofa arm. So I just reach out like that while I'm using this on my lap. So just do, you know, Alt drag or whatever. Alt scroll.
The observable universe.
Sorry, I'll give you back the display. And I'll try to stop going back to the mouse because it is definitely the best pointing device. Control 0 brings me back. Control drag for resizing. As you know, probably result control minus plus. If I do Windows plus and minus, that zooms in the whole of Windows, and I don't think that would really translate for you, would it? That I'm zooming in on certain parts of the screen. Maybe it does, because even monitor 2 was zooming in when I did that. It's super useful. Best looking keyboard. Some mistakes they've made. At least the volume controls are exposed on their own, even though they're backwards. Could piss you off and make you want to smash this thing against the wall because they've reversed that. And these mouse buttons are too low and too small, but still works. It could be something I get used to, maybe, but I never got used to it with this one. It was much better when it was this far away from the base to have it up, because I'm already up here and then I want to just do that quickly. But it could have just been because I got used to that. Still put this in number 1 for most of you. If you are doing a large amount of typing, at the moment, this is not an option for you. I'm seeing them for $750 second hand. They're not available anymore. So it's between the Artec and this one if you want to get one from Amazon right now. And I would definitely choose this new one that I've got. So that's the decision. This one. Buy this one. If it's only $35 each, get them both. $70 for two beautiful wireless keyboards. Then you can send one back and say, didn't quite suit me. Okay? I don't know how that's going to affect my affiliate links, like if you're sending shit back. But please click my affiliate links. I'm going to put them in the description below. It'll be the same price for you. It's just that I'll get 5 cents or something if you buy one. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.